There it is. Trump 1 year later, a red tie gala coming January 24th, 2026. The Hyatt Regency, downtown Indianapolis. It is going to be incredible. Tickets are on sale right now. Just go to WIBC.com. That's my home station. WIBC.com and get yours. Guys, good to be with you. Tony Katz, what's going on? So Melania Robusto from Oliva or Oliva, depending on how you say these things. This is not the Maduro, which I usually go for, but this is what I grabbed. So this is what I'm smoking. A lot to get to, including understanding this Ukraine deal. And the report is that President Trump spoke with Xi Jinping just a little while ago. We will have that as well. I'm glad you're here. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends. Let's go to work. So you've got Marco Rubio in Geneva working on a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. You've got President Trump on the phone with Xi Jinping today, as reported. He is the despot of China. Am I not allowed to say that? No, sorry. I just thought, being honest would matter. A conversation about U.S.-Chinese relations, Taiwan, and Ukraine. So what comes from that? Hey, talking world leaders is part of the gig. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. And it was Marco Rubio speaking to the press assembled there in Geneva, saying, "Hey, we're on to something here, pretty great."
Good day today. I think we made a tremendous amount of progress, even from the last time I spoke to you, and I apologize for keeping you waiting, but there was more work to be done. We began almost 3 weeks ago with a foundational document that we socialized and ran by both sides, and with input from both sides. And one of the things that happens when you've been involved in this now for 10 months is you get a pretty good sense of what the priorities and the red lines and the important issues are for both sides. And so that allowed us to create a foundational document, which has been an ongoing working document. In fact, over the last 96 hours or more, there's been extensive engagement with the Ukrainian side, including our Secretary of the Army and others being on the ground in Kyiv, meeting with relevant stakeholders across the Ukrainian political spectrum in the legislative branch and the executive branch and the military and others to further sort of narrow these points. We arrived here today with one goal, and the goal was to take is 28 points or 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items. And we have achieved that today in a very substantial way. Now, obviously, like any final agreement, they'll have to be agreed upon by the presidents. And there are a couple issues that we need to continue to work on. But I think
I assume one of those issues is land. And who owns what? Now, this was a little bit confusing over the weekend because what got reported was this deal was somehow not our deal. The reporting was that this was a deal that was put forward by the Russians, kind of their wish list. That, according to a group of senators, I believe including Senator Angus King of Maine. So that this idea of this big peace deal where Ukraine gives up the Donbass, they give up Donetsk and Luhansk and these larger parts of Zaporizhia, which is to say land that Russia doesn't even control right now. That would be part of this deal. We've always said that most probably Ukraine's gonna have to give up land. And that was the plan. And then the Russians didn't come to the table. So Trump said, hey, well, maybe we'll be on the side of Ukraine and Russia will fall apart. Maybe Ukraine will get all their land back. Who knows? And then that didn't happen. And Trump said, okay, well, then Ukraine's going to give up land. But I'm going to get a peace deal. It's going to get signed and I'm going to be out of this. I'm going to say I did what I could. Promises made, promises kept. Trump is going to do exactly that. Easier to get Ukraine to give up land because, as Trump said accurately in that Oval Office dust-up, they don't have the cards. It's J.D. Vance who played it wrong. It's Donald Trump who played it perfectly. In that scenario, J.D. Vance pushed back on Vladimir Zelensky. Why haven't you tried diplomacy? Zelensky said, we've tried everything under the sun. What are you talking crazy for? Then Vance on his heels was like, you don't even say thank you. Then Zelensky, in a broken English and improperly, said, you don't have to deal with the Russians, but you will see. And that's when Trump stepped in and said, you don't talk to us like that. And people who are MAGA and people who are independents were like, yep, you don't talk to us like that. We're not going to take that kind of nonsense in the Oval. Not now, not once, not ever. No. Just not going to have any part. From there was the cooling off. From there was, hey, Ukraine, take this deal. From there was the meeting with Vladimir Putin in Anchorage. From there was the meeting with the world leaders when they realized, wait a second, Vladimir said these things before. Vladimir Putin said these things before. We don't buy into any of it. Then came the Russians saying we didn't listen to a single thing we said to you. Here we are today. Here we are today. And Marco Rubio saying that things look good.
The report today is that I think today was worthwhile. It was very, very, it is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue, maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process, you know, I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done, but we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning.
I'm glad that the deal is working. I'm glad that you are ahead of where you thought you would be. The question before us is, whose deal is this? Because these senators said this is not the American deal. This is a Russian wish list, to which you had Rubio come out and say that is absolutely not the case. This is 1,000% our deal. So it is our deal to tell Ukraine to give it up. This is over. There's a part of this that does not compute. And the part that does not compute is the part of us selling weaponry to NATO, and NATO was going to have a large play inside Ukraine. Wasn't that the big talk? Wasn't that the big everything that that NATO was going to get involved, and there was going to be some level of peacekeeping force? And Mark Rutte, who is the Secretary General of NATO, was talking tough, and Trump's doing great here and doing great there, and they're going to sell us arms, and we're going to utilize this. And why isn't that happening? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's happening. Did NATO talk a big game to try and engage a pressure campaign on the Russians, and then when realizing that didn't work, they said, we're not going to go into Ukraine. We're still Europeans at heart, and we're just afraid. Because that's what it looks like. There was a lot of discussion about how NATO is going to be strong and they were going to have this force, and now nothing. Something happened. Something changed to bring us to this place at this time. I don't think that's out of out of bounds to say. As for whether or not I think the Ukrainians are going to take this deal, I'm like you. I don't think they have an option. I don't think they have an option. I don't think there's any place for them to go. Is this a case, as is being asked on the live stream, of Ukraine running out of troops? Certainly possible. They can't lose as many people as the Russians can lose. I think this is more a conversation of everybody else running out of interest. I find it ugly to think that we don't see as valuable. The freedom and security of Ukraine. This is not a question whether or not Ukraine's perfect. They're not. We don't have to even question that. But you can't identify, or you can't, what's the best word I'm looking for? You have to accept the fact that the Russians engaged this. The Russians did this. The Russians invaded. And now they're going to get, in many ways, rewarded with an invasion. And the world said, okay. And I think there's something really problematic about that. There's something very ugly about that. Yes, these areas in the Donbass are indeed ethnically Russian. There's a reality to this. I don't say no. But what happened here is Vladimir Putin walked in clumsily, may I add, like a giant oaf, like a buffoon, and he's going to get his wish. I can't see how Ukraine's going to walk away. Do I like it? No, I do not. I think it's ugly as can be. But sometimes reality is as ugly as can be. We'll see what happens next. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned. Am I supposed to get upset? I've got that breakdown coming up. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. So I'm looking for where this insane live stream is. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. I don't know where it is. Where is this insane live stream that's happening where everyone's a trolling freak? Because I look it up and I don't see it. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. I found it. But I don't see the crazy stuff on here. I see you. So where's the crazy stuff? How do I find the crazy? It's not showing up for me. Crazy. So I want to know. Throw a link in where you're going to see this. I want to see this. I don't see it. I'm on the mobile version. I'm holding a mobile. I'm looking for it right now. I don't see it. That's all. No, it's right there. Won't even let me play it. Weird. Anyway, I just wanted to see it. Want to see what was happening. We'll talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know. I don't know if you're upset, but we will discuss. So Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns. Am I supposed to, I don't know, care? I guess that's the right question. Am I supposed to care that she's going to leave the House of Representatives?
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in.
I don't think that's why you were despised. I don't know about you, but the space lasers may have had something to do with it. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. I've always said of Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm going to get some votes out of her that I like. After that, I've got nothing. I'm not interested in her. I'm not interested in having her in my house. I don't think there's anything unique or special or intellectual about her. Did I think that we agreed on a couple of things? Yes. Did I mind her saying we have to release the Epstein files? No. Not at all. But why did the way she did it get the ire of Trump, if you will, and other people didn't? Oh, it was the connection to Thomas Massie, the congressman from Kentucky, who, can I share a story? I have never had an issue with Thomas Massie. And then he started having a real issue with Israel, and I thought he was just wrong. You know, the argument of we shouldn't be giving this much foreign aid, well, that's a standard for him. He was getting into the ugly, and I didn't understand why he was doing it. It didn't make any sense. But this is what happens when you follow these bots that talk about, oh, look what's happening in Gaza. None of them are from in Gaza. They're all lies, and that has been outed as of the last couple of days, and it's only showing more and more how much nonsense is happening on social media, how BS the influence is, and the unbelievably susceptible fools who buy into this stuff. You'll be able to follow them on social media, especially on Twitter X, because they're the people who send me such unbelievably stupid comments. Massie recently announced that his wife passed away. Awful story. This was it brain cancer? I believe it was. It was a very long, drawn out story, and certainly felt awful for him. Then it got announced that a year later, he got remarried. He was married to his first wife for 31 years, and a year later, he got remarried. As just I'm going to put it out there, and people do things the way they do them, and mourning is different, and the way they view their lives are different. I have no capacity to understand this at all. I don't have to. I'm saying I don't have to. It's an aside. I don't understand how this happens. I didn't say people don't get remarried. I don't have an opposition to remarriage. I don't live their lives. I don't know what it is that moves them. I just simply cannot get my arms around it. No, I don't have to. But yes, I would like to understand it because it looks odd as all get out. Thomas Massey. I just hope the man's happy. I just wish the guy wasn't so angry about everything. And his Israel position is pathetically ignorant. So is that of Marjorie Taylor Greene, because they are not making an argument about the idea of what's best for the United States. They're making an anti-argument that somehow it's about them. And I always took that as a pathetic and bad argument. Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't an intellectual on this. She was Candace Owens light, which I just realized is going to be taken in a bunch of different ways. And I meant not as impactful. Oh, there's going to be a lot of emails. Just so many.
Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman.
I think there's a lot of people who can buy into that, believe that, share in that this, what we see in Congress often doesn't get us anywhere. It doesn't amount to anything. We don't gain value. We're utilized as the pawns, and that's that. Well, that would be a worthy statement. And then you say, and that's why being in Congress is not helpful. I'd rather try and be impactful from the outside, and that's why I'm going to resign. So she said all that in 37 seconds. She then has another 9+ minutes of just bothering you.
The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream.
Now I'll get into a whole thing about Gen Z, but all right, you've laid this out. Now what?
And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars.
And that's how it goes for another 8+ minutes. Her with a litany of, I've done everything right and everybody else has done everything terrible. Now, it gets a little deeper in spots where she says, so Trump no longer loves me. He's not going to endorse me. What do you want me to do? Run for office where Trump spends millions of dollars against me? And then I win, and I now have to defend him against impeachment from the Democrats when they get control of the House, which they will? I'm not being a part of that. She spent over 9 minutes creating a video that could have been done in 45 seconds. And she wants you to feel bad for her. That's a huge part of this. But that's only one part. More is coming up. I'm Tony Katz. I think people, Greg, would appreciate a whole bunch of things. A little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other. But the real question is, how did you not understand what was happening all around you? You're angry with Trump for not being supportive of you. Maybe you should be angry with yourself for putting yourself in a position to be all Trump all the time. This is about you. So I'm going to get back to this. Part 2. Trump's useful idiot. Now, you shouldn't think this only happens regarding Trump. This happens on the left all the time. All the time. There are people out there still saying that Joe Biden could have been president and he was fine. You gotta handle these things in a much more honest way. All right, so I'm searching for, okay. All right, so let me see if I can do this. I have found the mobile view. Let me see what these comments are. I don't get the crazy comments. Oh, come on. I want crazy comments too. Oh, all messages are visible. Sorry. Um, uh, can I post this? No, I'll get to that second. Someone asked me about what do I think of DeSantis running. No, man, I don't see the crazies. I don't see the crazies. Sorry. Oh, this is super disappointing. I want to see nutty people. Thoughts on DeSantis running in 2028? I would like to say, for the record, 9,000%. Right now, everybody is positioning that way. They should be positioning for a run. Because right now, the idea that J.D. Vance is somehow super strong, I think is super nonsense. He's not super strong. He's not. I think he's got tremendous and glaring weaknesses. So we should be clear that everybody's going to get in. There's rumor that Ted Cruz is going to get in. We will see what we will see. What we will see. A guy came on and claimed that I was a member of the mafia. There's no such thing as the mafia. Anyway. Did that happen? I don't recall that. I did not recall that at all. All right, let me get to this right here.
I wrote a piece and I talked about the 3 I's that were killing Americans: immigration, interest rates, and inflation. President's closed the border and the mass immigration is gone.
That was really weird. Like everything just started repeating. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button. Tell me that. Oh, good Lord. I think I figured it out. I hit a wrong button and everything just went nuts. Oh, gosh. I thought I was losing my mind. You're not crazy. The drugs, the 60s are over. We're fine. Whoo! Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. That is Scott Bessent. He was on Meet the Press with Kristen Welker talking about the economy.
In March of 2024, I wrote a piece and I talked about the three I's that were killing Americans: immigration, interest rates, and inflation. Presidents closed the border and the mass immigration is gone. And that was putting, a lot of the immigration was putting upward pressure on housing, downward pressure on wages. Interest rates are down, and now we are starting to see the affordability. The prices get better. We had a very big October for home sales. Energy prices, gasoline is down. We saw, we believe healthcare is going to come down. We will see an announcement this coming week on that. And so across the board, prices are starting to come down. We're having Thanksgiving week. This will be the lowest cost for a Thanksgiving dinner in 4 years.
You got to stop it with the Thanksgiving dinner stuff. No one believes that one at all. You sound ridiculous. You sound like Joe Biden saying, look at how much we've reduced the cost of your 4th of July barbecue. First of all, it's Independence Day, not 4th of July. Secondly, it was like 18 cents. Don't do that to people. It's a mistake. Scott Bessent, I know, heard me on Sean Spicer's show talk about him and the messaging. I know this because I was told this. It happened, I talked about Steve Bannon playing the clip, and Steve Bannon with the nonsense insult calling me a stock Republican. You sound ridiculous, Steve. Ridiculous. I'm embarrassed for you on that one. Good gosh. And I deserved better, Stephen. But I know that Bessent heard it. I will not in any way take credit for the idea of Bessent talking more about these things. I think I was correct that he wasn't getting aggressive enough in the messaging about costs coming down, about what it is we're dealing with, about the things that they're doing and why they're working. You cannot tell people things are getting better. You have to show them in their pocketbook how things are better. That's reality. So Bessent can lecture with his perfectly pressed suit and well-knotted full Windsor all he chooses. Is it costing me less for my insurance? Is it costing me less for gas? Is it costing me less for milk? Now, it's not yet costing me less for insurance. It's a real problem. It is absolutely costing me less for gas. Talk about that. It is not yet at all costing me less for milk. Don't sell Americans on something that is not happening. Don't do it. It's a nonsense, ridiculous thing to do. Now, there was an interesting thing about healthcare there, where it's rumored that Trump is going to come forward with a plan to rethink the Affordable Care Act. The subsidies are going to expire at the end of the year. They don't seem to, in certain ways, be coming back. They may call the vote on this. I don't think the vote's going to pass. And people who get Obamacare are going to pay a higher price. And of course, the Democrats are going to utilize that. They've already told you they don't care if people pay a higher price. They don't care if kids starve. Democrats don't care if kids starve. They don't. They're fine by that. As long as if it gets them power, let the kids starve. Let them not eat cake, I believe, is what Representative Ocasio-Cortez would say at this moment. So the plan, as is described, is something called the Healthcare Price Cuts Act. And the idea is that why does money flow to these subsidies to hospitals and others, why can't it flow back to the people? Now, as a matter of just course, I object to all of this stuff vehemently because I object to Obamacare vehemently. I object to Chief Justice John Roberts, but I can't go back in time. The idea that we would pay the government, we let them take our money through the most obscene concept, which is the income tax, which has the federal government being my partner in the utilization of my labor. That's what it is. I offer up my labor. Someone pays for my labor. Why the hell is the government a silent partner in my labor? Well, Tony, the country has to run. Screw that. A million ways we can make that done. I'm asking a different question. My labor belongs to me. I utilize it as I see fit. There is a value for it, and people then compete for that value, and you also have to be able to make money for your partners, which I do in great measure. Why is the government involved in that contract? They don't deserve any part of my income. Screw them. Every member of Congress, every member of the executive branch, every member of the judiciary, I don't give a damn. They don't deserve any part of my income. That is an affront. I now become an appendage, a slave, if you will, of their desires. But if you engage taxes on goods, well, then I could choose whether or not I buy the good. I can choose whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze. I have no issue with this. If states charge an income tax, I have no issue. I don't like it. I might leave a state. I would go to a state that maybe has a lower income tax. But states have rights. Federal government has no right to charge an income tax. To hell with them and anybody who thinks like them. Not interested. Don't want to hear it. Well, Tony, you don't want to fund the government. Well, Tony, you don't care about these people. Whoa, 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 whoa. My labor is mine. And if anybody thinks they're entitled to a part of it, I say let's fight. I'm talking about Jetson Shark style. I'm sorry, am I the first person ever to explain it like this? Because there's no way possible I'm the first person ever to explain it like this, if only because I know that Reason Magazine exists. So there's just no way I'm the first guy. But that's the fundamental issue I have. The idea that the government takes our money and now is going to dole it back to us and we're supposed to say thank you? Ooh. Despicable. But let's hold off on that just for a moment to understand what is being discussed here. Terminate what the White House refers to as surprise premium hikes generated by the ACA. Eliminate zero premium subsidies currently offered under the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, which would stop ghost beneficiaries, fraudulent policies and things like that. Take the money that would go to all of these groups and give it back to the people. I haven't done enough looking in. I haven't done enough research. I haven't done enough talking to people who know more about this than I do. There are two questions to be asked in this conversation, which is true of all economic conversations. Number one, are we talking about a conversation or are we talking about something you can make real? Can you get Thomas Massie to vote for it? Meaning, can you get it past the House? Can you get it past the Senate? You're going to change Obamacare fundamentally. Democrats are going to scream, you're killing grandma. Now, unless you're willing to tell those Democrats to shut their mouths, you dirty freaks. Unless you're willing to walk up to Chuck Schumer while he's doing an interview with CNN and say, Chuck, you are a lying freak. To hell with you and your whole family. You also don't know how to make a cheeseburger. Shut it. And then walk away. You've got a problem. You got to be able to fight that fight properly to be able to get the vote. Secondly, what is the immediate result? What's the immediate result for that American citizen? What is the immediate result overall? do people all of a sudden see a lowering of healthcare costs so they can then say Trump and Republicans lowered healthcare costs? Now, you understand that by doing this, you're not removing the Affordable Care Act. You're not removing Obamacare, which I see as an issue. Republicans have had over a decade to come up with a better plan, feel the air quotes, and they've never done it. They have failed epically on that subject. You've got polling that states 74% of Americans support extending the tax credit, including 50% of Republicans. I do not. Count me amongst the people who are rational. No. We actually have to fix the problem. Is this a fix? I think this is a codifying. And that I consider worrisome. But if you return the money directly to the people, and that is seen as an immediate savings, immediate more money in the pocket, then it's the win. And that, Secretary Bessent, is my story to you. Don't tell people things are coming, although it's good to explain them, and then claim something is here that isn't. Explain what you're doing, why it matters, why we're in this fight together, what's coming down the line, these things that we're working on every day. Tell the story that is inspirational. Don't undercut your message with, hey, Thanksgiving meal costs 25% less. I don't care what Walmart said. We don't want Walmart Thanksgivings. We at the very least want a Target Thanksgiving. You get my point? You can win this argument. You're smart enough. You are the guy. You're the adult in the room. Keep adulting. I'm Tony Katz, and this right here is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz Today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Who hasn't done West Side Story? I ask you. High school, I did West Side Story. And to show what a good dancer and singer I was, I played Doc. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There's a guy who follows me on Twitter whose name is Chief Tony Fiesta Taco Party. He does catering and events in California. And first of all, brave staying in California. Secondly, Chef Tony Fiesta Taco Party was going to be my name on OnlyFans. Damn it. I can't believe it's taken. I had a plan. And I'm telling you, at least for curiosity, I was going to get a lot of first-time subscribers. What? I'm telling you, if I don't do my OnlyFans, I'm a fool. I am an absolute fool. All right. Let's see what we've got here. Well, this is okay. No. So it's not even a fireside chat. There's no talking at all in my OnlyFans. My OnlyFans idea is so good. I'm telling you, I can't get away with it. I think the stations would fire me. Is there any radio host on OnlyFans? I'm not doing that stuff. Doing anything. Because I'm told you could do other stuff. Full disclosure, I never in my life have been on OnlyFans. Never. So, by the way, the Brisket Whisperer is freaking genius. And I'm telling you right now, Festival of Meat, that's in I can't get it out of my head. That is such a good name too. And that was from Libertarian Dragon. I'm giving him no credit whatsoever. Thank you. Let's get back to the show. Someone asked me in the chat room, did I think that Ron DeSantis was running for president in 2028? And I think everybody's going to run for president, or at least right now. Tony Katz today. Guys, good to be here. Good to be with you. I am on the YouTubes right there. We're live streaming, youtube.com/Tony Katz. Also Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Live stream brought to you by the good people at Flederman Von Riest. Oh, I love these timepieces. I work with them. They're brand ambassador, VONRIESTE, assembled in Indiana. Incredible timepieces. Shop.vonriest.com. Incredible stuff. And so I think that everybody's going to run. Right now, things can change. And one of the things that brings Ron DeSantis' name back is that Ron DeSantis was talking about Doge. And he said, Doge fought the swamp and the swamp won. Doge is shutting down. According to federal officials, Office of Personnel Management, Doge doesn't exist as a centralized entity. The Department of Government Efficiency has dissolved. Very disappointed. Doge was the right idea. Doge was everybody saying, this is what I voted for. And if you had a Doge without Elon, but you were going about engaging these cuts, going about engaging these reductions, we'd all be pleased. To end this early is wrong. Now, you could argue, well, no, see, they're doing it this way, they're doing it that way, they're doing it the other way. You could do it in a lot of ways. But where are the conversations about the reductions every day? Is USAID really gone? Are we going to find another 6 months? It's been reconstituted somehow. Are you telling me that what we have, this bloat, this wreckage, is just the way it's always going to be for forever, and all we are is on the slow decline? I'm personally not a wanter of that, and I don't think you are either. One must run fast and break things sometimes, and Doge was doing just that. This isn't the time to give up the ship. This is the time to triple down. And anybody willing to pick up that mantle is going to have a good opportunity in 2028. This is Tony Katz today. That's the truth. That is the absolute truth. Yeah, I'm not doing a meet and meet. That is just weird. That's Festival of Meat, I think, is better. Meet and meet, I mean, it's pretty heady right there. I do not know. A podcast called The Brisket Whisperer is very funny. You bring the sponsorships, I'll take care of the rest. I will take care of the rest there. For sure. So here's the story. We're in commercial break. I actually thought Trump was going to come out and say something. The White House Christmas tree arrived, so I was kind of expecting some level of statement. It didn't come. It didn't happen. So we're in the commercial break. And so we're going to take a break right here. Of course, you know, we do the radio show along with it. So kick back, relax, smoke them if you got them. We will be back in a little bit. Stay here. All is good. All is right. Be back in a few, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. What are you doing? Good to be with you. Okay, there is news dropping everywhere, but sometimes when it shows up on social media, it doesn't mean that it's accurate. But the Pentagon, oh, that's real. That's a real story. I am very excited because Mark Kelly is about to learn you ain't that tough, you ain't that special. Appreciate your service. Being an astronaut is rare stuff. But you want to talk about blowing it all up? That's you, kitten. Don't ask me to have any respect for you because I won't do it. You said that military members shouldn't listen to the president. What happens next, based on the rule of law, or in this case, the Uniform Code of Military Justice? Well, you should have thought about that. I will get to that story. And then there is a bit of rumor mongering. And that is what I need to get to. Because I saw somebody posted it in the chat that the Comey case has been dropped. And if that is the case, I'm going to lose my head. Yep. Well, no, see, this is different. This is a federal judge has thrown it out because Halligan was invalidly appointed. Oh, that's different. That's different. Okay. All right. See, that's not the story. The dropped is not the story. That distinction with a massive difference here. We're coming back to the radio show, and we will get into it. The Pentagon is now threatening to court-martial Senator Mark Kelly. Good. Now, I don't know if they actually can. I don't know if you could recall him to active duty service and make this happen. Why is this happening? Well, that's a bigger story. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Great to be here. Good to be with you. Live streaming, youtube.com/Tony Katz. Don't forget to subscribe. Right? Make that happen. Let me bring this to you. This started with a video of such disgusting proportion from Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan, Congressman Jason Crow, and a host of others, including a congresswoman by the name of Maggie Goodlander. Maggie Goodlander, who was a foreign policy advisor to Joe Lieberman and John McCain, a law clerk to Merrick Garland and Justice Breyer, served on the House Judiciary Committee during the first impeachment of Trump, and she is a member of Congress. You know who she's married to? Jake Sullivan, the former national security advisor under Biden. If you want to talk about somebody who knows how to be subversive, it's Maggie Goodlander. Maggie Goodlander was amongst those who made this video that said, hey, active service military, the Trump administration is bad, and they're putting you in a bad spot, and you do not have to follow illegal orders. You must disobey illegal orders. This was, of course, these Democrats pushing the idea that Trump should not be able to be in charge of the military as commander-in-chief, and you shouldn't listen to him. It was undermining the presidency. It was undermining the executive branch. It was trying to usurp the duly elected president. It is obscene. A lot of people on your social media feeds and my social media feed have decided that the correct response is, what's wrong with letting the active military know what their duty is and know what their rules are? I can't stop people from saying something that ignorantly stupid. And I say it exactly that way because everybody who is rational knows what these senators and these members of Congress were doing. Everybody. The sophistry of they were just saying what's the law and you don't follow illegal orders, that isn't what they were doing. That's what they said. That's not what they were saying. Rational people understand what they were saying. People who think that everything is a court of law want to go into what was said. We know better. And so does America. And what we saw on Sunday show after Sunday show after Sunday show was the ignorance of people like Representative Goodlander, who, when asked about this, sounded like a child.
Takeaway from your message.
Alex, we love this country. We love our Constitution. It is our job as lawmakers, and especially in this moment, to be clear morally, to be clear legally. And simply and clearly stating what the law says, what the Uniform Code of Military Justice says, it's not a crime. It is not treason. It is not sedition. It is our job. And I think it's really important that we do our jobs in this.
I did not know she also did voiceover for Cartoon Network. Now, there's nothing I can do about her voice, nothing she can do about her voice. She certainly does not sound in any way authoritative. It happens. But does that sound like somebody who's convinced of her position, who believes in the strength of her position? Or is she being a mealy-mouthed whatever you want to then say next by trying to skate around what it is that she thinks her job is and what she says she was saying when, of course, that isn't the thing that was being said? But she is not the only one who was doing this. This is Representative Jason Crow.
Let's get to the content of what you had in that video you released, because there are also 15 House Republicans who are also veterans who released a video, including a retired 3-star Marine Corps General, Jack Bergman. Take a listen to this.
Troops, listen up. Any service member who refuses a lawful order is subject to court-martial for violating the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
We study what's lawful and what's not lawful, and the Democrats stunt insinuating that they're illegal or unconstitutional orders. It's downright dangerous.
It is corrosive. It is meant to weaken our country and weaken the military.
How do you respond to these allegations from your colleagues, fellow veterans, that what you have put out there is weakening and corrosive to the military?
Well, these unfortunately are some of Trump's core supporters that are rallying behind the president, and
these are fellow members of the military who have served with distinction. Now, all of a sudden, they're just Trump supporters? I did not know we were allowed to dismiss members of the military because they're on one side of the aisle or the other. I thought these were people who sacrificed everything in service of their country, just like you. Guess not. Guess that's not the case. I guess when you're a Republican, your service for the nation doesn't matter. Or you can be as absolutely ignorant as Senator Alyssa Slotkin, who, when asked about this by Martha Raddatz, I should give the warning right now. If you're driving, hands on 10 and 2. I know the kids say you're supposed to have your hands on 9 and 3 because of airbags or something else. I'm an old schooler. It's 10 and 2, ride or die at 10 and 2. That's where the hands go. Right there. Until you get me the Jetsons and the truly self-flying cars, my hands are on 10 and 2. Senator Alyssa Slotkin, you've been warned.
It is very clear that no one should follow an illegal order, but it's very murky when you look at what is an illegal order. And if you go into morally, ethically, that's a pretty tough thing to look at and say, how do I navigate this?
Look, if you going back to Nuremberg, right, that, well, they told me to do it, that's why I murdered people, is not an excuse. If you look at popular culture, there's like, you watch, A Few Good Men, like we have plenty of examples since World War II in Vietnam where people were told to follow illegal orders and they did it and they were prosecuted for it.
Your argument, Melissa Slotkin, for making a video usurping the duly elected president of the United States, for putting the idea out there that the commander-in-chief should not be listened to, that he's engaging illegal orders, is a code red from Colonel Jessup? Kevin Pollak wouldn't have needed Tom Cruise. He could have found you guilty. He could have found you guilty and had time to have done Grumpier Old Men 3. I don't think there was a Grumpier Old Men 3. There was a Grumpy Old Men and a Grumpier Old Men. I don't think there was a third one. The best you could do is A Few Good Men. You said that Trump was issuing illegal orders. Well, Tony, they didn't say that. What you were saying is Trump issues illegal orders. And everybody in America saw it, and everybody in America heard it, and no one should think that this is okay. This brings us to the statement from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. This statement reads that the video made by the seditious six was despicable, reckless, and false. Encouraging our warriors to ignore the orders of their commanders undermines every aspect of good order and discipline. That's accurate. He goes on to state, their foolish screed sows doubt and confusion, which only puts our warriors in danger. 5 of the 6 individuals in that video do not fall under the Department of War jurisdiction. 1 is CIA, and 4 are former military but not retired, so they are no longer subject to the UCMJ. However, Mark Kelly, retired Navy commander, is still subject to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and he knows that. Which brings us to the story about the Pentagon, which is now threatening to court-martial Senator Mark Kelly. They may call on Mark Kelly, they may call him back to active duty, and therefore face court-martial proceedings or other administrative actions under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The department saying, quote, this matter will be handled in compliance with military law, ensuring due process and impartiality. Good. Good. In every single way, good. I did not serve. I did not serve in the military. Someone on social media was saying you were too afraid. And I said, what kind of stupid nonsense is that? It is of disappointment in my life, not that I didn't serve, that my earlier days, my younger days, were engaged in depression and confusion and sadness. Kept me from a whole bunch of things and a whole bunch of opportunities and a whole bunch of thoughts of what could have been opportunities. Military was never, ever in the cards for me. Ever. Back then. There would have been no way to see that one through. There would have been no capacity for me to handle that. That is to, not to my shame, just the reality of what it was for me. I know that people join the military. I knew there was a military. Certainly, I had parents who had no interest in me going down that road and never entertained it with me. I will tell you exactly what I told my children. If you told me you wanted to join the Navy, we'd have a conversation about it. If you told me you wanted to join the Army, we'd have a different conversation about it. If you told me you wanted to join the Marines, we'd have a really different conversation about it. These are different worlds than I come from, and you got to understand what it is you're getting into and how these things are different and what it is you're signing up for, because there is no out. There is only through. But I would not have objected. I still would not object. The military is better off that they didn't have to deal with me. I would have been better off not having such a level of depression in my childhood into my early adulthood and having figured it out later and found a better way later in life. I am just thankful I found a better way. You want to call it an excuse? I'm giving you reality. You don't want to buy it. I can't do anything about that. There were people at a younger age far more equipped for what this nation needed than I did, and good on them. Good on them for answering the call. Mark Kelly deserves no love. Now, no harm should come to him from any citizen. All that stuff is madness and nonsense, and the swatting and everything else. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It isn't how we do things. I have a ballot box. I can do this without all the things that disastrous nations have to go through. But being charged? Hell yes. Hell yes. I favor it. I favor Mark Kelly having to deal with the consequences of his actions. He wants to lecture to us about how he upholds a code and then does not uphold the code. He should have to live by it. Someone in the chat says, but you're advocating for regular Americans to go to war while you sit at home telling us propaganda. First of all, nothing I have said is propaganda. It is a point of view. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. Secondly, advocating for regular Americans to go to war. You mean soldiers when the moment does call for it? And the answer is yes. I advocate when the moment calls for it for us to engage a fighting force of full and outright lethality to destroy the enemy until the enemy is quite literally dead. Can I ask what's wrong with you that you don't? I did not say that we should go to war for, as the Constitution would describe, was the Constitutional Declaration. Sorry, light and transient causes. I don't believe in that. But when the moment comes, the answer is we send other people's children to fight. That's the way it goes. You don't understand that? You would not have won World War II. You would not have won anything. You would still be a subject of the king. It's time for grown-ups. And it's time for Senator Mark Kelly, and I believe all the rest who should resign in shame, to have to deal with the consequences of their despicable actions. Let's see what the Pentagon does. This is Tony Katz today. What? Can I tell you, again, I say it. Social media has gotten weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. Well, I guess it makes some people happy. Welcome back. So the James Comey story, it's bigger than just Comey as the data is coming out right now. And so this story might change a little bit, but I will bring you the latest on this in just another minute. And where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? There it is. Boom! On sale now at WIBC.com. Trump 1 year later, a red tie gala. It is going to be a stellar event. It's going to be spectacular, amazing. The food, the bourbon. I'm going to make you laugh. I'm going to make you think. I might make you angry with me. I don't really know. But it's happening January 24th, downtown Indianapolis at the Hyatt Regency. You got to get your tickets. Go to WIBC.com and get your tickets right now. I will put, I think they're getting sold through Eventbrite. I think that's how they're doing this one. So I will get you the link for that. It's going to be amazing. Absolutely incredible what it is you're about to see. I do it good. I do the parties good. You want to be there. Go to WIBC.com and just look for the event and get your tickets. It's going to be incredible, incredible night. Let's get back to the show. So what in the world just happened in the James Comey case? Well, I'll tell you what needs to happen. Well, I'll say it again. I put everything on Pam Bondi. Really disappointed. Tony Katz today. Great to be here. Great to be with you. A judge by the name of Cameron Curry, who was appointed by Bill Clinton, dismissed the cases not only against James Comey, but against Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York. They were dismissed without prejudice. They can be refiled. These people can be reindicted, and that's going to happen. Comey indicted for lying, right? Saying he never leaked things to the press when he did. Letitia James for lying about how she got mortgages, this fraud. That's my take. The argument is about the U.S. attorney in question, Lindsay Halligan. And the argument is that she was appointed improperly. That she was appointed improperly meant that when these indictments took place, she was not actually the attorney in charge for the Eastern District of Virginia, and therefore the indictments themselves are invalid. She has been unlawfully serving in a role since September of 2025. So therefore, she could not have moved forward to engage the indictment against either one. Now, there's a conversation about whether or not, what is the proper terminology here? The statute of limitations with James Comey is involved that you won't be able to reindict. The question will be, and this will be for lawyers who have an understanding of these things, if an indictment came through, but there was some kind of technical issue, does that indictment date? Can another indictment be brought with a fixing of the snafu and fits into that time frame? Or is it's over, that's it? That's a question. James Comey is what you never want your sons to become. You don't ever want your sons to grow up to be like James Comey. This abusive, no moral compass individual. Daughters, Letitia James, you don't want to be that. Not interested in doing a job, interested in engaging in vengeance to win the favor of your party or some other dollar. But all this makes me say the buck stops somewhere. Pam Bondi's got to go. It's embarrassing already. Can't do the job. Let's find somebody who can. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. There it is. We can make a country song, can't we? All right. Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be Comey. So VIP or regular tickets? So VIP will get, first of all, there's a separate room for VIP that they'll be able to hang out in. There will be 2 extra bourbons for them to try. So we've got 3 bourbons for everybody to try and share, and stations and all the rest. We'll have 2 extra bourbons for them. And you have preferred seating. So you have seating right up front. It's, did I mention the swag bags? I take care of my people. I take very good care of my people. Yes, producer Landon has gotten some swag bags before because as the producer of the show, he gets entrance to my events. That's part of the perks package of working here at Tony Katz Enterprises Worldwide. So just all part of the privileges of working at Genco. I get it. Ticket prices for this one, because of the event venue and red tie and how we're doing it, not particularly cheap, but a night of food and entertainment. So it's not a sit-down meal. It is all past hors d'oeuvres, like it's their job. Stuff's going to be coming through left, and you're going to be so full, so incredibly full. It's going to be nuts. The VIP is not sold out. Tickets just went on sale today. Just went on sale today. So no, not sold out. Not sold out. You go to let me see if I can find the Eventbrite. There it is. And I'll shorten up the link, but there it is. Right there, and you can get your tickets. It's going to be incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm very excited about it. It's coming together very, very well. The highs, the lows. I've got a lot of moving parts in this one. Oh, look at that. The White House saying no, no, no. All right. The principles. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Thank you there, producer Landon. Well done. Well played. So we got that going on. You're working on song lyrics? Why can't we just put it into AI? Now, as for am I doing cigars? So I have a meeting with the GM of the hotel, and I won't tell you when. He has a plan for a smoking spot to do cigars. I gotta see it, and if it works, it might be the coolest thing I've ever done. And no, it's not rooftop. They don't have a roof. It's not rooftop, and this is winter, so you don't want to be rooftop winter. We're gonna see. If it works, it will be the coolest thing that I have ever done in the history of ever. Can't wait. But we're gonna get back to the show right now. Get your tickets. You want to do that? Go to WIBC.com. Let me get that for you right there. Hold on one second. Yeah, I'm good. So the Trump administration is denying reports of the demise of Doge. Is that what they're doing? They're saying, oh, no, everything's fine. What are you talking about? Everything's super groovy.
Efficiency, otherwise known as Doge, is dead. Darren Botella's got the story. Capitol Hill working that. What you find out, Darren? Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. As you pointed out, the administration is saying that Doge is not dead, instead saying it's decentralized and every agency is working on cost-cutting measures. This whole controversy started with a Reuters article that was posted just about 24 hours ago. Here's what he was talking about. It was saying that Doge is disbanded 8 months ahead of schedule, of course. By the way, it's set to come to an end in July 2026. Also in the article, Bill, it says that former Doge employees have taken new roles in the administration. Scott Kapoor, director of the Office of Personnel Management, hitting back with this tweet saying in part, the truth is Doge may not have centralized leadership under USDS, but the principles of Doge remain alive and well: deregulation, eliminating fraud, waste, and abuse, reshaping the federal workforce, making efficiency a first-class citizen. Doge.
Good. Excellent. Am I concerned? Well, sure. Absolutely concerned. You know, you need to be focused on this. I don't need a big government agency to do it. I need the work to be done. But I don't know if putting it in these separate places, it all just falls by the wayside. This brings us to MSNBC. I'm sorry, MS Now. Talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. And if you want to understand the Republican from Georgia who is resigning from Congress, well, you need MS Now to explain it to you.
Michael, so which is it? What does her split from Trump tell us about the future of MAGA?
It tells us the MAGA coalition is collapsing. She was one of the most powerful and influential voices he had in Congress. She was with them since the beginning in 2015, and now she has chosen to move on. And it's not just her. Even outside of Congress, you have some of the most powerful media voices on the right who have moved on from Trump. People like Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon and the racist white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Those people have all moved on because they have said they feel betrayed. And so if I'm Donald Trump, I'm wondering what this means for me and my ability to get anything done next.
What you need is the former spokesperson for Hakeem Jeffries to explain it to you. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene, to the idea she was influential, is silly. Joe Rogan, influential. And a really acceptable, worthy conversation should exist regarding why did you lose these people, these players who were certainly helpful and influential in helping you winning re-election. It could be because you now say, hey, it's okay if 600,000 Chinese nationals clearly connected to the Chinese Communist Party are in our universities. What? What are you possibly talking about? When you tell us that the Jeffrey Epstein files don't matter. I wonder if Trump has had a little bit of understanding of what it must have been like for those so-called conservatives, some of whom are friends, who have come around and all signed on to that letter over at National Review saying you can't vote for Trump. Do you remember this? They put out a whole issue of National Review about this. And I talked to National Review guys today. There's some smart guys over there. This was an unbelievably bad move. Unbelievably bad move. The worst move was never Trump. The people who are never Trump are the most ridiculous people out there. Never Trump is a pathetic and embarrassing movement. Guys like David French, who are writing things I agreed with and disagreed with at National Review, who decided to go never Trump and now want to play the game of, I don't know what these Democrats said wrong. You shouldn't follow illegal orders. They didn't say anything wrong. Oh, dear Lord. What's the line? It was a Bill Engvall. Here's your sign. Like it's just that clear. But those guys got a very rude awakening when they realized they didn't have any control over voters. They didn't get to decide what conservatism was or what they wanted for the nation. They could only put out an idea. It was up to people to decide what to do with that idea. And what they decided to say, and they did, what they decided to say is, we know best. And that's not reality. Here's what I think, and here's why. Here's why I think it's a good idea. Here's why I think it's a bad idea. You've heard me talk about tariffs. I know some of you disagree with me. We're still friends, dear Lord. And what these radio people and bloggers and television people and others learned is that you don't get to decide. You don't understand what's happening. You don't know what it's like to have somebody finally listen and understand us. We've been having these conversations for years. I don't know if Trump has begun to understand that when you said something, we took you at your word, and we're going to hold you aggressively to your word. And we don't care what name you call us. Why? Something we understood from the beginning. We said from the beginning, oh, we got a whole bunch of heat for it from the beginning. I do not. You do not have to be loyal to Donald Trump. He has to be loyal to us. We do not work for him. He works for us. When you know your place at the table, when you know who you are, man, the whole thing is a lot easier. And when you're not engaged in some MAGAville insanity idol worship, but rather recognize the guy who can do good and has issues, and Trump is a guy who can do good and has issues. And Marjorie Taylor Greene could not have done anything if she wasn't all Trump all the time. She chose idol worship. And the idea that this proves that the MAGA coalition is collapsing, what does that even mean? It means that a group of Democrats on MSNBC finally have something to sexually excite them. That's all it means. There's no value in this. None. Going back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, though, she, of course, resigning. And it is noted by a whole bunch of people that her resignation comes January 5th, 2026. Why January 5th? It could be because the Congress will be sworn in on January 3rd. She will, at that time, will have served 5 years. 5 years guarantees you a full lifetime pension. You know, the rumor is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is worth $25 million. And do you know how much that makes me crazy? How have I not figured this out yet? What's wrong with me? I mean, dear Lord. But she's going to stick around to get the full pension. Okay. Thank goodness you're so convicted. But in her 9-minute plus screed, her 9 minutes plus of announcing that she was leaving, what she stated deserves a serious amount of questioning. Like, for example, this right here.
Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms. and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me.
Now, I think we would agree that's a worthy argument. What am I sticking around for? But when you tell me about how much you love your family and you love this, you love the country and you love your constituents and you did it all for the people, you're sticking around for the money. So that's a hard one to kind of, do a math on. But this idea that you were betrayed, if you want to play the part of useful idiot, Representative Green, you can. But I don't think anybody should play that part, and you did. And don't worry, you're not alone. There are others, whether they're in Congress or they're influencers or whatever they are, they play the part of useful idiot. There are only two people you agree with 100%. There are only two people whose opinions you think are perfect, and that is your own and Jesus, and everybody else is fallible. That's reality. The man never said anything wrong a day in his life. Do you know how insane that is? I agree with everything he says all the time. Really? Because I think that's crazy. And you sound ridiculous. And we should be clear, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you sounded ridiculous. If you had been someone who at least openly said, I'm not in favor of that right there would be more credibility to it. But when you are shocked to learn that you disagree with the president and the president has choice things to say about you, you've never seen Donald Trump before. You never once, saw a video clip. I think there's a lot of crocodile tears here. I think you're allowed to resign. I think you have an interesting thing to say about how Congress works and how nothing ever gets better and the real issues there, and I think that's valuable. I think you make a point about why should I run? I'm going to win. I don't know if you will. Trump's going to spend all this money against me. Then I'm going to be expected to back him up. I don't want to be around that. I think that's an argument people could actually connect with. And to prove how gross it all is, I'm going to stay so I get my pension. I will say clearly, I don't think you'll be missed. I'll be curious to see what you do on the outside. I'm Tony Katz. Get those tickets, Tony. Chat room, Tony. He was heading out so he could go get his tickets, and you should. You should make that happen. It's going to be incredible. There it is. Trump, 1 year later, a red tie gala, January 24th, 2026. Go to WIBC.com and get your tickets. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. Guaranteed your money back. Just kidding. You're not getting your money back. So what else? What else do we got? What else do we have going on? Beauty, beauty, beauty. Okay. Interesting. Get back to this, and there's that. Beautiful. What else? I had some other audio. I thought I did. There is more coming out about this ridiculous woman running for Congress in Tennessee. The one who said she hates Nashville. The video of her in 2019 trying to run into the governor's office and got dragged out by Tennessee police. Very weird. Super weird. I will try and hit that story tomorrow. Oh, she's a special kind of cuckoo. That's what she is right there. I know, but I had some clips. Let's see if I can. Oh, yes. Got it. Got it. Sorry. It's Keith Ellison. Dun, dun, dun. You ask, I bring it to you. It's coming up right now.
Matter of debate for us, we know it. Somali community is an integral part of our state, our culture, and our neighborhoods. Like so many immigrant communities before them, many Somalis came to Minnesota fleeing conflict, instability, famine, just looking to build better lives for themselves and their families like everybody else.
But that's not what happened, seemingly, in Minneapolis there, Keith Ellison. The guy who claimed he didn't know what Antifa was, but there's pictures of him years ago holding the Antifa handbook. Yeah, that Keith Ellison. Tony Katz today. Great to be with you. He's the Attorney General of Minnesota. And the story here is that it was learned through reporting from the Manhattan Institute that Somali nationals in Minneapolis, was a very large Somali population, are applying for all types of funds that were available through things via COVID-19, the Minnesota Medicaid Housing Stabilization Service, something called Feeding Our Future. And they made claims of kids being autistic. They made claims of this, that, and the other. And to get funding, dollars. And then what they did is they sent that money back to Somalia, and Al-Shabaab, I got to pronounce it correctly, the terrorist organization ended up with the money. They funneled money back to a terrorist organization. And now Trump is saying, you lose your temporary protected status. This is ending. Temporary protected status is what we found in actually, we're heading back in the spring. Springfield, Ohio, the Haitians are eating the dogs, eating the cats. That wasn't happening, but they are eating geese, and they are terrible drivers, and the housing problem is massive. Temporary protective status is what allowed the Haitians to stay. And it seemed to me like it was a jobs programs for factories out there in Springfield, Ohio, because now they got these workers. Temporary protected status is what the Biden administration utilized for specific groups for specific purposes to keep them from being removed. Somehow they deserved extra protection. All the animals are equal, but some more equal than others. Trump is removing that. And it shouldn't just be for those in Minnesota. It should be for the nation. I will dig more into that. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. I appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough for being here and being a part of the show. Back tomorrow at noon, and you should be here as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to get your tickets for Trump 1 year later. A red tie gala. It's going to be incredible. Amazing, spectacular. The bourbon, the food, the laughs, the thinking. You might even get angry with me, but I'll turn you right back around, kitten. That's what I will do. I'm glad you guys are here. Really appreciate you as always. I want you to have a wonderful day. We're back tomorrow at noon, so join me then. I will catch you then. Y'all take care now, and go get those tickets. WIBC.com. You'll see the link. Just make it happen. Take care.